Okay, so there's a lot I could say about racism in general, but that's not what I want to focus on. I'll save that for another day. I just want to talk about how everyone acts like racism's a one-way street. People seem to have this idea that racism doesn't exist for white people. Like we're so privileged or some shit that we just have to take any crap you throw at us. Anyone who says racism doesn't exist for white people is probably fucking stupid and fucking racist themselves. And whenever I start talking about racism, someone will always be like, oh, you can't talk about racism, you're white. Like, bitch, how's that fucking not racist? That's like me saying to someone, oh, you can't talk about gardening because you're black. Like, as soon as you say anything about blacks, it's fucking racist. But you can say whatever you want about whites, and that's fine. What the fuck? Alright, so by now you might be thinking I'm just a typical racist, but I'm not. Just because I'm white doesn't mean I can't talk about racism. You racist fuck. Oh, but white people never had to go through slavery. Yes, they fucking did. White people were slaves long before black people. Oh, but that was a long time ago. Yeah, it was a long time ago. That's why no one goes on about it. Slavery in America ended over 150 years ago. You can't still feel affected because your grandma's great uncle's second cousin's fucking mother was a slave. It's in the past and it's not even your past. It didn't happen to you. It doesn't affect you. Okay, look, I'm not saying racism doesn't exist. In fact, I'm saying the opposite. It exists for all races equally. Here's another example. So I'm into hip-hop, right? And I'm as white as a ghost. So whenever someone sees or hears me listening to hip-hop, they look at me like, what the fuck? You can't listen to that. That's our music, nigga. And given that I love hip-hop, I'd probably get shot in the street if I went around singing some of the lyrics in these songs. So here's another thing. In New Zealand, there are schools and scholarships specifically designed only for Māoris. First of all, how do you even qualify for that? What kind of test do you have to pass to show that you're Māori? Like, I'm as fucking white as sour cream. If I walk in there, they're just gonna tell me to fuck off. Like, how's that any different from having white-only restaurants and bathrooms like 50 years ago and shit? It's just the same thing, but 50 years later and in reverse. Even as I'm saying this shit, I'm thinking to myself, this probably sounds racist from the outside. But that's half the problem, isn't it? It's like as soon as a white person starts talking about racism, they're considered more racist. You just can't fucking win. You're stuck between a rock and a hard place, so most people just don't say anything about it. Look, in my honest opinion, I don't give a shit what race you call yourself. Countries are so diversely populated these days, it doesn't really matter what colour your skin is. Because everyone's half this and quarter that, whatever. Personally, I like to keep an open mind about people. You know, but there's always going to be stereotypes with everything. But that's a whole nother story. Alright, so one last thing, because I want to wrap this up. It's dragging on a bit. What's up with this idea of some people being too white? People are like, oh my god, you're so white, do you ever go outside? Like, that's the stupidest thing I've ever heard. Imagine going up to an African and being like, wow, you're so black, have you ever been inside? Or imagine going up to an Asian and saying, oh my god, you look so Chinese. Like, no shit. So when I go to the beach, right, because I'm fucking white as cum, whenever I take my shirt off, people are like, holy shit, you're white. Yeah, you're right, I am. It's like they have to put on fucking sunglasses when staring directly at me. Like, how the fuck am I supposed to respond to that? Oh yeah, thanks, I've been trying a new lotion. Alright, so if you've concluded that I'm a racist, feel free to leave a comment telling me why, and I'll make sure to create a follow-up video telling you why you're wrong.